Alright, so hello everyone, welcome back to another video in my tutorial series for the A380. In today's one we're going to do the approach, descent and landing. First off we're going to need to check our standard terminal arrival route. So here's our chart for the standard terminal arrival route. Look at our flight plan. Check which waypoints are relevant. By the looks of it, I'm looking for a depot. A depot there, yeah, depot. From the depot we need our ILS in there. So we're coming from depot and then we're coming onto the ILS. And a constraint would be 250 knots below flight level 100 or 10,000 feet, and we realistically need to be at 5,000 feet for depot anyway, but that's not a restriction as such. So we're going to get 5,000 feet bugged into the altitude display as we approach our top of descent. As you see, we're a bit out from it, but getting it pre-selected is always good. I'm going to select 5,000 feet, and then once we reach our top of descent, I will engage that in managed mode, providing it's all suitable in managed mode for the rate of descent. So pre-select the altitude that you need to get down to. This could rather be an altitude on your standard terminal arrival route chart on Navigraph, or it could even be just the ILS interception altitude. Any one of those will do, but you've got to make sure that you of course descend to the right altitudes, correct altitudes, to ensure you're not too high for the arrival. If you're ever in doubt, just straight up go to the ILS interception altitude. That'll be fine. We have briefed our standard terminal arrival route. Our next thing will be briefing our ILS. So there'll be a lot of information on an ILS chart on Navigraph. There we have it. The frequency is going to be 109.1, which should be automatically tuned by the A380. However, we will double check that. And how do you double check that? Go back to the flight plan init page. It will, init, there we go. And we go to nav aids, and then the LS frequency, or the landing system frequency. Of course, we're a bit far out for it to be tuned now, so it's all good for them to not be tuned now, but when we get closer we need to ensure that it's tuned automatically, otherwise we'll have to manually insert the frequency in there. Alright, so I can see the top descent marker coming up, so I'm going to engage the descent by using managed mode. So I'm going to push the stick in, the knob in, as I did for climbing. As you can see, the plane is now going to descend. Of course, as you saw, I did that slightly before the white line, and that's of course your top of descent marker, just like the A320. You can do it at any point really. You can do it after it or you can do it before it. Recommend you do it before or at the line. Doing it before never harms anything as long as it's not like miles before. If it's on the PFD screen, it's obviously within range, a decent range, so long as you're not zoomed right out. But we're on 20, so it's definitely a decent time to descend. So at this point we're going to descend. It's in managed mode, so it's going to manage our speed and our rate of descent. If you find that you're not descending quick enough, you can of course use the V-speed, just like the climb that I did. But seeing as managed is fine for me, I'm not going to do that. However, if you do of course use manual rate of descent, you will have to make sure that your speed is all good, because the plane won't manage the speed if your rate of descent is drastically too steep. So do be aware of that, just like the climb. So we've got the frequency done. The final approach course should also be pre-tuned for you automatically, just like the frequency, in that exact same page that I just showed you in the FMS. We have a go around altitude of 5,000 feet, missed approach here, 5,000 feet there, 5,000 feet here, that's what we want. So that's what we'll set. Once we are intercepted on the glide slope and localizer, we can set the go around altitude. Our ILS interception altitude is 3,000 feet. as shown here, 3,000 feet, or here, 3,000 feet. Next thing to do is check out the minima. We are a Category D aircraft, or Delta. However, you will find that some people say you're a Category Charlie aircraft, just like the A320. I don't agree with this, but if you do agree with that, use that. But if you don't. If you're in doubt, use Category Delta. Trust me, Delta is more what this aircraft is, not Charlie. So we've got in the A380, you've got a barometric minima and a radio minima which you can insert, unlike in the Airbus A320, which only had a barometric minima, or clearly it only had a barometric minima. The barometric minima is the bold one, the big number, and the radio minima is the one in brackets. For example, those are the radio minimas in the red circle there. Alright, so I think that's everything we're going to need, mandatory. Transition altitude is 5,000 feet, so that's the point that we set the QNH from standard mode to the whatever the local QNH is. Right, so we've got everything we need in there, so we can close Navigraph now. We could do with putting our standard terminal arrival route in now. Destination data at the bottom of the screen now, so we're going to clear that. And we're going to enter our destination data. So we're going to go to performance, approach, and we're going to get every bit of information we need. So we need to know the winds for the destinations. We can find this from the electronic flight bag from FlyByWire. Echo Delta Delta Kilo, which is the one we want, because we don't want the departure airport. We've done that now. So we've got the wind speed is 300 at 7 knots. 300/7. So we're going to click there, 300. And then in this one we're going to click 7. That's our winds inserted. Our temperature, which is also known as OAT, is 10 degrees. 10 degrees. QNH is going to be 1025 hectopascals. 1025 hectopascals. Our barometric minima, it only wants a barometric minimum for this flight, so we're just going to do the one which isn't in the brackets. So we're going to do Category Delta for this, 545 feet. And we're going to get our landing calculator out now. We're going to use Simbrief for this, just like we did for the takeoff performance, seeing as the fly-by-wire doesn't have a calculator for you. So landing performance, I'm going to select my aircraft type, A380, airframe, fly-by-wire, airport, Echo Delta Delta Kilo, runway should be automatically populated, but do double check that is the correct runway. The correct runway is runway 24 for our flight, so that is wrong. It's selected 31 right, we want 24. Weight, what's our weight at the moment? So gross weight is 344,100 kilograms. We're going to calculate now. So we can use Auto Brakes 1 absolutely fine with lots of room to spare, so that's all good. We're going to use flaps full today and not config 3, so that means our arrival performance is all set and done. Our go around performance we won't need to do because we're just going to leave that automatic. Our final approach speed is automatically calculated for us, which is 133 knots. So at this point I'm going to put my standard terminal arrival route in. So I'm going to go back to the flight plan and I'm going to put the route in. So I'm going to click on Echo Delta Delta Kilo in the grey box, and I'm going to select the runway, which is 24. I'm going to select the approach that we want. So in our case that will be ILS 24. Do we have a VIA? We have a VIA for COL, or Charlie Oscar Lima. So we're going to put the VIA in. If you don't have a VIA, then you can leave that blank. And our standard terminal arrival route will be Depot to Charlie. So Depot to Charlie, which is there. And we have no transition. I'm going to head to the flight plan to double check that's all correct and there's no discontinuities. And in our case, there is no discontinuities that we need to be acting on. So we're going to insert the temporary flight plan and that will engage the flight plan for us. So that is the standard terminal arrival route inserted. We're going to double check that by using the PFD screens for safety. We're going to have it on a 10 zoomed for accuracy reasons. So we're just going to go through it. check in from Depok, going to there, to call, to there, and then onto the ILS. That all lines up, and then that's our go around, which we won't brief. So that's all good. So we can go back to arc mode and then zoom it out a bit more as well. So pretty much we're just waiting to get to 10,000 feet now, where we have a few extra steps to do. So I will meet you back when we are at 10,000 feet, shall I? Auto brake. Auto brake will be 1. So we're just going to put the auto brakes to low, really, in other words. Runway, we have 8,067 feet of runway, and we're planned to use about 5,000 feet, so that's all good. Elevation 302 feet above sea level. I'm going to meet you back when we're at 10,000 feet, yeah, happy descending, and I'll see you then.